Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I am reviewing Star Wars The High Republic, The Fallen Star, the third adult novel in the High Republic series, in the start of the third and final wave of Phase 1 of The High Republic. The novel is written by Claudia Gray and was released on January 4th, 2022. So yeah, which I thought the novel was alright. Out of the three adult novels for The High Republic so far, I'd say it's my least favorite. I still enjoyed it, but I really liked Light of the Jedi and the Rising Storm. In this one, I just didn't, enjoy as much as those two. I had a few problems with it. When I felt like the pacing was a little off, mainly because, the setting being a starlight beacon getting destroyed and it's, going down. They need to, at first figure out how to maybe, save it, and then afterwards figure out how to escape. So, there's not much time, but it just kind of didn't feel like it was as time sensitive, I guess. Just because of, I guess, maybe how it cuts from characters to characters, kind of stuff what's going on at the same time. Just kind of, didn't feel as, dire of a situation as it actually was. So yeah, also, Light of the Jedi and the Rising Storm kind of gave the big picture of everything was going on. At least for the events it was showcasing, kind of got everything you need to know about those events. Where the other, there might have been other stories that took place during those events, but they kind of were more extra than, you didn't need to read those to understand everything going on. Where this, I kind of felt like they didn't give the big picture of Starlight Beacon's destruction, because in the novel, Starlight Beacon gets split into two halves, a bottom and top half, and we only see what happens on the bottom half. They kind of say what happens to the top half, but we don't see what goes on during all that, so it kind of just felt like, just didn't get everything that was going on. I would assume we'll probably get some of that stuff in the Marvel comics and whatnot. So, which, like, that, it's not as big of a deal, because I've read every High Republic story what came before this, and I will read everything what comes after this, so, like, I'm fine with, that, but it just felt a little weird in this novel. But one thing I thought kind of they didn't give enough on was, in the novel, we see the Jedi get affected by this weird and mysterious presence on Starlight Beacon, which we eventually learn it's the exact same thing what killed Loden Greatstorm at the end of the Rising Storm. You see a few Jedi get turned to stone in the novel, which, throughout the novel it's this big mystery and whatnot. We eventually learn that there's some sort of creatures who are doing it, which was kind of hinted at in the Rising Storm. And that's really all we end up learning about it. So, it kind of felt like it went unresolved in this novel. Like, we really didn't learn much. I would assume, once again, all that stuff would be answered in Marvel Comics, because the Marvel Comics have also been focusing on this stuff. Like, the one miniseries, Trail of Shadows, has been exclusively about that, so I would assume we'll learn more about it in that miniseries. But, it kind of, was played as a big mystery in this novel, and I was expecting answers in this novel. It was, when they're doing all that, it's probably some of my favorite stuff in the novel. But then, all we learned was that they are indeed creatures who are doing this. So, wish there was a little more there. But those are really all my biggest complaints about the novel. There's still a lot of stuff I liked. I liked, the crisis of Starlight Beacon being destroyed. I like how Nile do it. Instead of doing some big battle, Marchion Rose sends 3 Nile, along with those creatures, to secretly board Starlight Beacon and take everything down from inside. Like the escape pods, the comms, basically anything that would make it impossible to escape. And they do it so, the computer systems, realize before they blow up the main reactor. So, and because of those creatures also there, the Jedi don't sense anything going wrong because they're already being affected by those creatures. So, yeah, But, like I said, eventually they blow up the main reactor, which kind of, then leads to, Starlight's destruction. And, that's when everyone aboard learns that something's wrong. And so the Jedi have to figure out how to, save the station, all while still being affected by those creatures. And so, some of the Jedi just aren't, on their A game. So, I really enjoyed all that stuff and whatnot, the main kind of plot. But, because of everything going on in the station and whatnot, with the calms down and whatnot, kind of does make the novel a lot different, because it mainly is just about the characters who are stuck aboard the station. We do get a few moments, outside of that, but it's really more about the characters on the station. We don't get much galaxy-wide stuff. A few moments with like Marchion Ro. I'd say he's probably the most prominent character outside the characters on Star of the Beacon. But even then, he's really only on his ship, and he barely interacts with any other characters. We do see like Chancellor Lena So and Avar Kriss, but once again, it's really, very little and really not interacting with a whole bunch of characters. But the characters you do see on board Star of the Beacon include, Stellan Gios, Elzar Mann, Bel Zedafar, Orla Jareni, Buryaga Agaburi, Nibasik, and a few non-Jedi characters, like the crew of the vessel from Into the Dark, which is Leox Jossi, Affie Hollow, and Geode. Also, we see two former members of Nile, Nan and Chanzi Yarrow. Both those characters appeared in the young adult novels, which, some of those characters do die in the novel. Some of those Jedi turn into stone from those creatures like Loden Greatstorm. Some die on their ways. But, I enjoy most of the characters. Definitely all the Jedi. I like seeing how those, creatures affect them and whatnot. And how, for someone like Elzar, most of the novel, he's cut himself off and it doesn't affect him, and then he kind of taps back in and it starts to affect him a little more. The only characters I really didn't care for too much were Nan and Chanzi Yarrow. For a good chunk of the novel, I just kind of was like, why are they here? They really don't have as much, of a point to be here in the novel. But there was a moment including them, which I really liked at the end of the novel. It was a big moment for one of the other characters. I won't dive too much into it because it was a very shocking moment. I was very surprised by, and, definitely a big moment for that character. But obviously, like the crew of the vessel, kind of giving the more civilian look at the crisis, which I really like. What they had new in the novel. There's a character, Coley Lynn, I think was the character's name, who kind of acts as a bad guy, I guess, in the novel for, the civilians, because, even though he just wants to get off Starlight Beacon, he's kind of doing, he throws like a mutiny, I guess, aboard Starlight Beacon. He gets Nan and Chanzi Yarrow to team up with him, and he kind of makes up a plan, but it goes south and he ends up dead. But I enjoyed that. I think we also see the characters Pika and Joss Adrian, who were featured in Light of the Jedi as bigger characters. They really don't have that big of a role. They're just kind of there, with the civilians and whatnot. Most of the civilian characters we see are the crew of the vessel, or at least their point of views. So yeah. But like I said, liked all the Jedi stuff. Stellan Gios, Elzar Mann, Bel Zedafar were some of my favorite characters in the last two novels, and they continue to be some of my favorite characters in this novel. So yeah, and the rest of Jedi I definitely enjoyed. Orla Jareni, I liked some of her moments with Stellan, because she's this Jedi way seeker, as it's called. She's kind of doesn't, I guess follow what the Order is doing. She kind of does her own thing, but it's still a Jedi and, part of the light side of the Force. And, Stellan is the exact opposite, follows the Jedi Order by the book, pretty much. And there's a moment at the end of the novel also what I really liked with Stalin, and thinking about that. Once again, won't dive too deep into that. So yeah, but like I did mention Markion Rowe earlier, but his novel, he's probably the most prominent character outside the characters in Starlight Beacon. Like I said, he's mainly aboard his ship. Kind of see him, I guess, phasing out having real people as crew members for these droids. He has the only humans on board with him are his assistant. I'm forgetting his assistant's name, but also the Republic Senator Gira Staros, who's kind of betrayed the Republic and is now in league with the Nile. Not publicly though. She is also there. We don't get to a whole lot with her. Definitely kind of see her kind of maybe question kind of going with the Nile and Markion Rowe after the destruction of Starlight Beacon. So interested to see where that goes, and the rest of the Phase 1 stories and, Phase 3 stories, if Phase 3 follows up Phase 1. But also interested to see where Markion Rowe goes and his plans for the Nile. We might find out some more in the Marvel comics, because he has his own series, Eye of the Storm. But it's only 2 issues, so won't probably worry as much. But definitely interested in that. Why not? Also in Phase 3, I guess. And, I don't know if anything will be in Phase 2, because Phase 2 was 150 years before Phase 1. But, yeah. So, yeah. But, all in all, I really like the characters of the novel. Like I said, Nan and Chantiara, I just wasn't as crazy about. But the rest of the characters, I really, really loved all of them. And because of how much I enjoyed the characters and their struggles and whatnot in the novel, it kind of helped me enjoy it more, with kind of the few pacing issues I had and some of the other issues I did have with, stuff like those creatures and whatnot, the kind of mystery not being resolved as much, and kind of the, obviously, it's not as big of a game, but the big picture stuff, and, obviously this novel was very, just about those characters, and I thought it did a good enough job with the characters and all that. And so, I guess the novel wasn't trying to be a big picture novel, but, I kind of went into it expecting that, with, like the Jedi and the Rising Storm kind of being those novels. Yeah, but, I still felt like there could have been a little more. My biggest problem was because, it said Starlight Beacon gets split in half, and, the top half we don't see anything about in this novel. Obviously, I believe that will be featured in the Marvel comics, so, I might end up looking back at The Fallen Star after I read those comics and be like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. So, yeah, but, all in all, I thought the novel was alright. I definitely enjoyed stuff. Some stuff I didn't enjoy. But, I still enjoyed it as a fan of the High Republic and whatnot. So, yeah. But, my grade, I'm going to say a B. So, yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this review. My next review for High Republic will be in the middle grade novel, Mission to Disaster. So you can check that out then. But in the meantime, you can check out all my reviews on the first 2 waves of High Republic stories, including Light of the Jedi and the Rising Storm and all the other novels and comics and whatnot. So, yeah. But anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I've been Zarzine. I'll catch you guys in the next one.